Buckle up and enjoy the ride. We're going to share with you the roadmap of 2025. Hello and welcome to Astro Numerology Reveal. I am the host, and today we have a very special guest, our returning guest, who's going to share with us what we can expect for the year of the nine, 2025. But before we get there, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with us in this space today. Thank you so much for inviting others to come in and listen. And thank you so much for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. Today's conversation is brought to you by our special guest, none other than Astro Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can download the app for yourself and get the forecast every day to let you know how you should navigate your day. You can get it at a star 8, ASTAR, the number 8.com. You can also download it on the App Store or on Google Play, and you can get it at linktr.ee/numbersanyou, where you can also gain access to some of his other exclusive products and services, including the free monthly newsletter. Welcome back, Lloyd. How are you doing tonight?
I am fine, thank you. I'm glad to say.
Great, great, great. Now, I'm excited about this video. I'm excited about tonight because this is where it all started. I don't know if you remember it or not, but I remember last year asking you to do something on the universal year of the eight, and you did that. But we couldn't let well enough alone. We had to
You
go
should speak for
further.
yourself.
We decided to go further than that. I would say I'm going to point the fingers at you. You decided that we should do the monthly forecast.
Yes.
And the way you came up with this monthly forecast is a way that I've never seen it done before. Now, the monthly forecast is good by itself, but you said, hey, let's do the zodiac signs. So you decided that each month you were going to do a different zodiac sign. It started off like that, all fine and dandy, but then you had to go in and add colors and crystals. I mean, a theme. You really took the monthly forecast to another level. And I want to say thank you so much. First of all, thank you for your consistent support on Astro Numerology Reveal, as well as Manifest on Purpose. Because when I told you about this idea of Astro Numerology Reveal, you was like, yeah, you should do it. You should do it. So I was like, yeah, okay, let me try this out.
So far, so good, right?
So far, so good. So I've enjoyed um, hearing the forecast every month, but now we're approaching a totally different year. We're in an eight universal year this year. And before we get into breaking down any numbers, I want to ask if you can tell the viewers, because we may have some new viewers here, what a universal year is. Why is it significant for us?
The universal year is by taking the sum total of the year in question, in this case, 2025. When you take those four numbers, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. Therefore, it is a universal year. If you look at the dictionary definition of the word universal, it means everyone. You, me, birds, dogs, cats, you name it. Everybody's going through this cycle.
This year, we've been in a universal 8 year. Can you tell us what we should have expected or experienced in the universal 8 year?
Well, eight is for when you say eight, that means 2024. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 for the novice equals 8. So that is the universal year that we're leaving, going into the universal year of 2025. Well, eight is a number that deals with money, success, power and authority, real estate, banking, legal matters, because eight is somewhat a challenge to most people. It deals with the economics. And it's so interesting because as we go into 2025, which is global, they're talking about global economics that is not just affected in this country, but all around the world. The ripple effect will be that, but that is the way the nature of a nine is. But as far as this year, a lot of people should have been doing a lot of growing up, coming of age, recognizing who they are, maturing in that sense, dealing with people from the past, whether good, bad, or indifferent, by ways of reunions and funerals and christenings and baby showers and things like that. And people should have developed a more philosophical kind of nature as well. But because the eight is somewhat problematic to this country, there have also been very, very major challenges with the economics, stocks, high unemployment, people being terminated. Some airliners just laid off 17,000 employees. And it's interesting because always at the end of the year, that's when people are laid off. It looks good for the records when they start the brand new year. So that's how this is. Those under the signs of Capricorns and Aquarians and Libra should have been the beneficiaries of this year, and or people that were born on the 4th or the 8th, the 13th or the 17th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 26th, or the 31st of the month.
Wow, thank you for that. Now, every forecast we always ask each other about our month. So since you just talked about the 8 universal cycle, I want to know what the 8 year was like for you. Did you experience any of those things during the 8 cycle?
Yes. In fact, I did a lot of growing up, to be honest with you. You think as mature as I am now, that there would be all the room, but I've done a lot of growing up. I formed bonds that unlike never before. I also became more economically aware of financial situations, things like that. So it's been a very learning curve for me. This year has really been a learning curve. And what it says is this: one is never too old or too young to learn if they want to keep growing.
I agree that I agree with that, and I love that. Nobody is ever too old or young to learn. So
Mhm.
I think I can say that I did a lot of growing up too. I wasn't going to admit it until you did, but I'll go ahead and admit it now. I did a
Yeah,
lot of growing up this year.
a lot of
There's
people have it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, there's been, I've experienced some of those networking thing opportunities as well, some achievements, some milestones. And there's still, I think, one more thing I want to complete by the end of the year, but we'll see if I'll make it before the end of the year is out. One more thing that I want to finish up, but specifically because it's an 8 thing and we're in an 8 year. So that's why I
Mhm.
want to finish it out this year.
Yeah, well, this is a good year to wrap up anything financially type loose ends. And also, too, there's so many aspects to these numbers because this is a year not only of growing up, but dealing with legal documents, papers, wills, things of that nature, banks. Banks have folded. It's just been a whole lot related to finances, real estate market, mortgage insurance has shot through the roof. A lot of people, believe it or not, across the entire United States are no longer carrying home insurance. It's just been that expensive. Automobile industries have gone up. I mean, the ratings is just, it's been a very, very economically draining part for the nation per se.
Yeah, there has been a lot going on. And one thing that I noticed, and it kind of, it kind of made me smile to myself when I thought about it because nobody ever mentions it, but it was a lot of scammers this year. Did you notice that?
Excuse me, somebody tried to scare me too. I have a TikTok, a platform, right? Numbers in you. And what happens is a client had called me and says, Lloyd, there's a person trying to talk to me. Good thing she knows me as my client. And I had to actually get on my platforms of Instagram and TikTok to let people know that it wasn't me. But because 8 deals with money, and to the negative, it does rule scams and schemes and racketeering and things like that. But I mean, it's been going on, but I think this year has been excessive. To give you an example, which is a little of some of my personal business, you know how you have a debit or credit card? I've had to change that card no less than 5 times, even recently as this week, because somebody in Nigeria tried to use my card for $49 and they put a block on it. And I was at the bank this morning dealing with that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like the never ending story. Okay.
You trying to hold on to your stuff in there somewhere eating good off
It
your
ain't
stuff.
like I got a lot of money either. Okay. Where I can say, here, yeah, sure. My treat, Yeah.
They
With
said,
some
let's pick him.
little old me, I'm minding my business. And you know what's interesting? I don't even carry the card out with me. So it's how these things happen. And there are people, I mean, and people are ripped off, unfortunately, every day. But I think this is a year where scams have just gone through the roof. But again, it's about economics this year. It's about finances. So if you're not careful, you could possibly lose everything in the blink of an eye. So they say you got to be careful with Zelle. You got to be careful with a little bit of everything. Banks are, and a lot of banks are doing things that are very questionable. I ain't gonna call no banks on there because I don't want us to be taken off the air, but there's some banks that are not doing what they're supposed to do.
Don't make me call them out. You know I will.
I know you will too. So I'm just saying we all need to check our bank accounts. We all need to watch how money comes and goes. And so even though we're wrapping up the year of 2024, it just seems to just pick up the elevation. And because we're going into a year of manifestation, if people are not, they may be manifested out of all their money if they're not careful. So it's a kind of a no joke situation.
So I know a lot of people are wondering what's up with the color code tonight? What's up with the dress code? Can you answer why are we wearing red? Oh,
Well,
that's a tongue
I
twister.
wore red first, okay? And then you decided, well, let me copy this brother. But no, I just got on with red, and before I know it, do it in red. So it just happened to work that way. But here's the thing: each year or number has a color assigned to it, and the color assigned to the 9 is the color of red or crimson, things like that. So we are representing actually the year of about to come, which is 2025, which is the year of the 9.
We're representing the year of the 9. We're representing Aries. We're representing Scorpio. We're representing, last
Leo.
but not least, Leo.
Yeah.
So if you are one of those, a number 9, an Aries, Scorpio, or a Leo, put it down in the comment and also let us know about your universal 8 years. So interesting to find these things out, and it helps us do a little research about what it is that we're talking about. So we're representing number 9 tonight, and since we are, let's jump right on into it. What can we expect in 2025, the 9 universal year? Can you give us the roadmap?
I'm going to do the best I can. First of all, we normally associate 9 with conflict because it is ruled by the planet Mars, which is the war planet. But 9 actually is a humanitarian number, which means it would be in our best interest to act in a humanitarian fashion. 2, because 9 represents things that are global, universal, international. But for some reason, we seem to get caught up in, mine is better than yours and this, that, and the other. And we kind of to the negative side. But the thing is, for all of us this year is to bring out the best in each other, to be inspired. That is the nature of the 9. That it's not about race, color, creed, ethnicity, weight size, height size, dollar amount, religious leanings. It is about appealing to humanity. We all got to protect ourselves from the elements. We all have to, feed ourselves and, things of that nature. So these are things that is not just exclusive to one group or one gender or whatever the case is, but universally, we should all embrace this. Now, 9 is normally associated in numerology with 3 things. One is about endings. Enough is enough. Someone or something has got to go. A person will say, I don't need this, I don't need that. And they'll look at somebody straddling their fence and says, you know what? I don't think I need you either. Okay. It'll be like that. And so it brings about closure. And the reason why is because the year to follow, which is 2026, will represent a 10 or 1, which means now you start a brand new 9-year cycle. So this year says beginning to eliminate or weed out anyone or anything that has not been in your best interest, that has been non-productive, toxic. And this could be our own actions, the way we think, the way we consume things, so it doesn't have to be other people, but things within ourselves, our way of thinking. And it's about letting bygones be bygones, because in the 9 cycle, it's about cutting your losses, cut the weight. And because if a person fails to do that at any point this year of the year of the 9, and when we go into a 1 year, it will actually start in that 1 year and last to the next 9 years too. So let's say you got somebody call you every day and they just been a pain. And this is the year of the 9 where you cut that back. You're not available, you're busy. I can't talk to you right now. Because if you fail to do that, when the 1 cycle comes and you haven't resolved it in a 9 year, well, expect it to stick around for another 9-year cycle. Okay. The other definition of the 9 is dreams come true or manifestations. You know how sometimes we put things on the back burners for the sacrifice of others, for family, for this or that and the other. And we say, well, we'll get around to it. We'll get around to it. But there's some priorities we need to handle. Well, this year says you take those dreams that's been on the back burners, you bring them front and center. You focus on what you want to do to make your dreams fulfilled. In life, we only got one go around. We're so used to playing video games, we think that, well, if I get zapped, I'll start the game all over again. Well, in the real world, when you're zapped, that's it. It's a wrap. There is no other way to get around it. And so as a result of it, it is about making sure that the things you have been wanting and desiring and been putting on hold for the sacrifice of family, relationships, this, that, and the other, you begin to put that aside so you can manifest your dreams. The third thing is about travel. Normally, 9 represents long distance travel, not just traveling from the car to the house to the mall and back, but traveling long distances. And if a person doesn't travel long distances, people from long distances will come their way. And even if a person doesn't physically travel, mentally, they may daydream about, wow, wouldn't it be nice to be somewhere other than in this city or in this town or whatever. So it takes place on a lot of levels, physically, if possible, going on long distance trips, or just by maybe reading books about travel, or just daydreaming about travels when you're at work and stuff like that. Those under the signs of Aries, those under the sign of Scorpio and Leos will be the benefactors. So they will all be my new best friend this year, okay? And people born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. However, Cancers will be more challenged than any other persons, and those that are born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, and the 29th of the month. But the best thing, if possible, is to be of inspiration. Now to the negative. Okay, I got that part. Now let me tell you about 9 to the negative. 9 is the number associated with war and conflict. It denotes confrontations, arguments, injuries, accidents, dangers from knives, guns, instruments, explosions, fires. All of these things will be. And unfortunately, as you know, as we're talking now, there's a heavy conflict going on in the Middle East. There's a heavy conflict going on in Ukraine and Russia. You know, one political party they're not in disagreement. They're hating each other, which means the country gets nowhere. You know, people are on edge. And I explain it this way too. You know, that since 9 rules arguments and confrontation, to give you a dramatic example, you got 2 guys in their ego trying to get a parking space. One says, well, that's my parking space, and no, we're supposed to have it. They get into an argument. One pulls out a gun, which is a 9 energy, shoots the person. The person may be injured or die. They go to the hospital, and the person shouldn't go to jail. And the third person get the parking spot. Ain't that something? You know? So what I'm saying is decisions have consequences. So try not to be on edge this particular year. Try not to let nobody ruffle your feathers, get your goat. You know, sometimes you just have to think and put the ego to the side. So if the ego can be kept in perspective, you could live another day. Or if my gun is bigger than your gun, or my ego is bigger than your ego, we may not see another day. So that is the only thing. That's to the negative. So I'm saying, please avoid, for those of you who have guns in your home, handle them with care. Every year, there's accidental deaths, especially with children. The guns are left out. The children don't know. They're not adults. And so as a result, they will maybe play. And some children have accidentally shot their parents. And so they lose their parents. You know, so the question is it worth it? Only when one is in jail do they say, you know, was it worth it? And the answer is hell to the no. Pardon my French. Okay. So these are the things that we need to take into consideration. But let me tell you how the year starts off. In January, the theme is about starting all over again. Why do I
Can
say
I
that?
ask a question first?
Of course, you may.
For the people that are cancers or born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month, what can you say to them to be, how can they get through this year?
Good question. First of all, you can't hide under a rock. So if a person said they're going to hide under a rock for 365 days, I want to know how you're going to pull that off. Okay. That's my first question, because how'd you do that? And it's not to be paranoid, because see, one of the things of having to be forewarned is to be forearmed, so to speak, or whatever that craze is, or in the reverse. But the point is just having the knowledge that therefore that this would be a time for all cancers, and all depends on the cancer, because you could have a cancer born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th of the month, which would modify versus a cancer that's born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month. And so what it simply means is just being mindful. Cancer's best days are always on Mondays and Fridays, and all dates that add up to the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, and 29th. So if they must do anything important, they should do them on those days. The more problematic months for cancers will be primarily the months of January, April, and November, and on a Tuesday, and all dates that add up to the 9, 18, or 27, which is why I developed a mobile app so people could look at their red star days, pardon the pun with all this red we got on, or their green star days that tells them when they can go and flow, you know? So that's how they do it. And it all depends on their personal year cycle. Now, we'll say this too. We talked about the universal year. It's very simple. To find your personal year, anybody listening, they take the month and day they're born and add it to the year in question. So if you took somebody born August the 22nd and you added it to 2025, it would be a 3 personal year. That's why I call personal, because it's to that individual born on August the 4th, August the 27th, 22nd, August the 13th, or August the 31st. They will all be in a 3 universal year, which denotes expansion and good luck for them. So there are exceptions. So the Cancers, especially, but please don't walk around in a paranoid, woe is me, things like that. You'll get yours. You may have to wait. That's the beauty of Mother Nature. The stars move very slowly but precisely. And if you be patient, we all get our turn.
Okay, now let's jump into the year.
All right.
Everybody.
What I'm going to do is something unlike what I did for 2024. I did an overall, but I figured I would do a month by month blow of what's going on through the year. And in it, I'm going to describe the theme for each month from January to December. I'm going to explain the activities involved and how we may be affected one way or the other. I'm going to also give you that period of the month that is good or not good or challenging. And I'm going to also mention some cities and countries that are likely to be affected in this month and that month, as well as the signs that's going to be affected as well. So let's start off with January and let us pray, okay? For January, the theme is about starting all over again. Why do I say that? Well, 9, the universal year of 2025 added to January, adds up to a 10 or 1. And so 1 represents new beginnings. So you know how sometimes you want to end something, but you want to know when to start to get rid of it? Well, January is the month to do so. January, it's like, man, it's been taking forever in a day, and I wonder when's the best time to say, I'm tired of you. I need to let you go. Well, January is the month to do that. But on the other hand, it also means because dreams come true. Those entrepreneurs with entrepreneur mindsets, this is a time for them to step out on their own, to step out on faith, to do the kinds of things that are beneficial to them, especially if they are Leos and Aries and Aquarians, are born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. It is about being daring, independent, self-reliant, innovative, futuristic, and really, really taking it to the next step. And so don't be not afraid to dare. Be not afraid to get out there and start your own business, because what you don't want to do is go down the road of life of this year and mentally kick yourself for not giving it a chance. Well, you'll find that New York and Dallas and San Francisco, along with Havana and Sydney and St. Kitts and Nicaragua, will be some of the months or some of the cities and countries that are likely to be affected in the news at some point this particular time. So now, what about February? For February, it is about going into what is called the master number 11, taking things to the next level, okay? First of all, February rules the sign of Aquarius. It is the second calendar month, so 9, the universal year of 2025, when you add it up, added to the second calendar month equals 11. 11 is considered a master number. It is considered a number whereby one evolves to the next level. They come up with great ideas, great concepts, great, very innovative things that are very futuristic that people need to capture in that moment. You know how people sometimes get this bright idea, this brilliant idea, and they say, I'll write it down when I go home. And man, they get home, they can't remember to save their life. This is also going to be a good month for February, where people will be thinking about changing their diet. More than likely, there's going to be some call to about foods being this way, because already they're challenging about ultra processed foods. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think about just earlier this week, at the time we are doing this taping, 10 million pounds of meat was recalled. 10 million pounds of meat. Okay. So all your popular stores, Target, Walmart, Aldi's, this, Kroger's, you name it, you got to be careful. So in February, a lot of this is going to be coming to a head, and it's going to be bringing this out. It's going to be a time to mend fences. It's going to be a time to negotiate. It's going to be a time to partner with people. So yes, it's about some endings, but in trying to do something on your own and try to partner with those of like minds, okay? The first week indicates things expanding. The second week is more like from the 8th to the 14th, where there have to be some kind of restrictions in terms of having a blueprint. 5 is going to, the week of the third week, I should say, is going to give a person more freedom and flexibility to travel and move. But it's that closing month of February that's going to be more in line, I should say, with relationships, finances, health, education, and whatnot. Now, cities in the news are going to be like Baltimore, Miami, New Haven, Stockholm, St. Thomas, Frankfurt, Germany, Barcelona. Those will be some of the ones that is important. As for the master number 11 month for February, that means Leos, thank you, followed by Aquarius, thank me, or Cancers, or anybody born on the 2nd or the 3rd, the 7th, or excuse me, the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month. Now, March. The theme for March. What is the theme? The theme for March now, it's going to be a period of optimism. It's going to be a 3. How did I do it? I says 2024 added to the 3rd position month equals 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3. This is where Jupiter makes his presence felt. And in fact, Jupiter is the original sign of Pisces anyway, that period. But for all people, we should have a sense of optimism. That is one of the main things. To say, okay, by the time we hear who shot John and this, that, and the other and whatnot, to kind of take another spin on it, that things aren't as bad as it really, really is, because everything has its season. Well, the month of March, looking at the thing, will indicate that people will be more optimistic about the economy, more optimistic about their lives. It does denote, since it rules expansion, people might put on a pound or two. Bills may be more extended or whatever the case is. And the one thing to be careful of, especially in the first 2 weeks, is getting caught up in people's gossips and scandals. Let it be. If you heard about so-and-so, don't you say, girl, did you hear so-and-so? Don't do that. Don't, you heard it and let it go in one ear and out the other. That would be the best thing. But if a person's been working on trying to improve their lives for the better, or in relationships, they couldn't have picked a better week to do so, especially around the 3rd week of the 8th through the 14th, the 15th to the 21st, because it looks like there's going to be a whole emphasis on a better appearance, whether physically through exercise or whatnot, appearance to actually outside of person, or maybe changing their wardrobe. Women are doing their hair, but it's going to be that kind of energy. And because it is also a period denoting optimism, to socialize, to network, because that's exactly what it is, and to use your creativity and your imagination during this particular month. You will find that such cities as San Antonio and Toledo and Flint, Michigan, as well as Moscow and Haiti and Cuba and Melbourne and the UAE will be in the news to some degree. And this means that those, if they're under the signs of Pisces or Sagittarius, or born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, they will find this their year too. Now we move into April. Now, here's the thing. Just as this country has good months, April is definitely one of the stress months to the United States. First of all, 3 presidents, all Aquarians, have died in this month of April. This is a month that's normally very challenging. And because it's a 4 universal month, it means order and purpose, that one should have a sense of why you're doing what you're doing. Now, last month in March, yeah, you can get out there and be spontaneous and creative and imaginative. That's not how it works in April. You must know why you're doing what you're doing. You should have a sense of order, a blueprint, a roadmap, or something to follow, some kind of construction. You just don't build a house because you just feel like building a house. You got to have a blueprint. You got to then know when to lay the foundation, then lay the cornerstone, and then build upon this. So if you can think of that, because April is a 4 period, it's going to be very restrictive. It simply means that people need to watch where every penny comes and goes, literally. The rule of thumb, since it's going to be in a restrictive cycle, is begin to pay yourself first. Don't ignore, I need the bills paid, so-and-so. No, you need to start building a little nest egg. This is one of the few countries that puts more emphasis on debt, how much debt you can be. So one time, I guess, is about $36 trillion in debt. By the time this is aired and April comes around, it might be 40-something trillion dollars in debt. And so what happens is the dollar get weaker, the prices go up, food goes up, rents and mortgage goes up. The average car now is $42,000. So no telling what it's going to be in April of 2025, okay? And a used car, forget it. Used ain't used no more. That's like buying a car that was like 10 or 15, 20 years ago. It's just going to be that kind of crazy. Now, the week that's going to be more problematic for this nation is in the second week, from the 8th to the 14th. And because it means there's going to be a conflict, there's going to be a bipolar situation, there's going to be a love-hate situation. So what I'm saying is be very, very careful and mindful how you deal with your loved ones, how you talk to your children, how you talk to your employees, because don't forget the whole theme of the year is about 9 anyway. And so if the economy is going to be really affected, which I hope it is not, it means people are going to be on edge. You know how they say you come home and kick your dog? Well, you kick the kids too, and you kick the wife, and you kick the husband. You want to kick everybody. I mean, it's going to be a very crazy time in April. So if people really feel like tightening up, don't forget the elections of November of 2024 will have passed, whichever president is now running it. And it's definitely going to be about the economy. And since 4 is normally a period that symbolizes restrictions or limitations, people in the month of April should take a waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not. So I would say the second week from the 8th to the 14th and the final week from the 22nd to the end of the month, people are going to have to really be mindful of what they're doing, why they're doing it, especially when it relates to their finances. Washington, D.C. is going to be in the news. Atlantic City is going to be in the news. Richmond's going to be in the news. Salt Lake City, London, Barbados, Trinidad is going to be in the news. And if a person is an Aquarius or a Leo or a Gemini or born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, they too will probably be in the news in some way, shape, or form. For May, when I add the universal year to the 5th month of May, it denotes 14, which denotes travel and increased travel, in fact. It's going to be a perfect time. The people, whether they have next to nothing, going to have this urge about, well, maybe I need to have more space. I need to get away for a couple of days, or whatever the case is, and even just get out the house, especially if somebody's been sitting in the house. But it also means a month of opportunities. It is because the period of May represents a person or an opportunity for everybody to promote themselves, to get out there, to brand themselves, to not be at a stay-home person, but to get involved in some area that relates to communications, import, export, stock exchange, the literary field, the travel industry. And because of the cycle that we'll be in for May, people should diversify as much as possible. I'm not talking about their portfolio, stocks and precious metals and things like that, but I'm talking about become to be more well-rounded. Okay, so we all find our niche, but to be open to learning this, to learning how to do that in addition. It would be a good time for people to learn about the art of writing. Get your writing, improve your writing skills, take a course on English. And even if you say you don't know, they got everything on YouTube. All you got to do is go on YouTube and say, learn how to write, learn how to read, everything is right there for you. One of the best weeks is going to be the opening week of the month. So it's going to be around about that first Friday of May or somewhere around the 6th. That should be good. But people are going to really want to get away from the noise, the confusion, and the drama in the second week of the 8th through the 14th, somewhere by a body of water. It'll be a good time for people to learn how to meditate and reflect on some of the things they're doing. Financially, there may be some challenges going into the third week. So people have to be a little bit more mindful since that week is challenging, the month in and of itself for May. But it's the last week that indicates more long distance travel. So the second week is more to get away, to hear yourself think. And the last week is to get out of Dodge as far away as you can. Certain cities in the news is going to be Chicago and Trenton and Oklahoma, St. Paul, Cairo, Egypt, Belize, St. Croix, Hamburg, Germany, to name a few. And if a person is a Gemini or Virgo or born on the 5th to 14th or the 23rd of the month, they will be the recipient of the month in and of itself of May. Now, what about June? Okay, now we're almost at the halfway mark. And by the way, I need to digress because back in March, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde, okay? 14th through April the 7th, Mercury will be retrograde. That means miscommunications, delays, all that kind of stuff. And because of the cycle that March will be in, which is a cycle of expansion, just be careful about maybe adjusting your time, not just assuming things. I got all the time in the world, and lo and behold, you go into an appointment with an accident. But Mercury retrograde is doing that. Mercury retrograde takes place in all the water signs this year: Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Okay, so when we get to Cancers in July, we'll talk about that too. But anyway, June is about health, education, and the home. How can they improve their home? How can they rearrange their home? How can they better educate themselves? Now, see, people think, oh man, I got to go to school and take out a college loan. No, 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 no. If all you got to do is read it, the beauty of this modern technology now, you don't have to really go to a school. You really don't have to take out a student or college loan. All you got to do is just get on the internet, Google what you need, or buy good books. Books about a dozen. I got a boatload of books. I got books. Well, I ain't going to talk about my book history, but I love to read. And so it would be to people's advantage to learn how to educate themselves more to develop their skill sets, encourage your children or loved ones to read, to learn, to be more proactive about taking themselves to the next level. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. The first week is going to be more reflective, but it's in the second week of the 8th through the 14th of June, excuse me, where one really gets a chance to not only make some insteps, but it'll be a time probably to get a piece of property, deal with a will or legal documents and stuff like that. Travel is indicated, but it indicates maybe traveling to family reunions and things like that, going to weddings, going to graduation. It is the month of June, which is normally graduations, weddings, things of that nature, family reunions. And going into last week, they're going to find that they're going to be more independent in the way they think and reflect about the way the things they want to do. So the cities and countries in the news is going to be Dallas and Hartford and Kansas City and New Orleans and Bermuda and Paris, Honolulu and San Salvador, to name a few. And if a person happens to be under the sign of Taurus or Libra or born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th, they will do well. They will prosper. Now, what about July? First of all, Mercury goes retrograde from July 17th to August 11th. Let me get that straight. Now, what does that mean? Be careful of the things you say. And especially, see, this is the individual month, but the overall umbrella that covers the entire year is the 9. Impulsiveness, quick-temperedness, things of that nature. So what I'm saying is reflect first. Think before you open your mouth. You know what I'm saying? What they say, don't say nothing that your mouth can't cash or something like that. Well, that's the kind of energy is going to be in July, especially with Mercury being retrograde. That'll just only complicate the situation. Well, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. And by that time, you're split, you've had disagreements. And then when you ask, was it like the parking lot and the parking space incident, was it worth it? The answer was no, not at all. So you have to be very careful of what you do. And also the beauty of about July is it's going to be like not only reflection, but it's going to be the law of attraction, that what you're thinking you will attract. So if you're thinking poverty, that's what you will encounter. If you think success, that's what you will encounter. And because we'll be in a water period and it reflects that, and essentially we'll be in a 7-month, which deals with water, Cancer rules by water. There's a good technique that I heard not too long ago called the 2-cup water trick, to help them put in 1 cup, write all the things that you've been wanting to resolve, but in a past tense, like you had it, and pour it into another cup as if that has been cured and whatnot. That's a wonderful technique. Maybe you can explain that later on one day to people, or they can go and see that. But this is what it is. And also, because it's the law of attraction, it means during July, don't chase after anything. Let it come to you. So again, it's what you're thinking. If you're walking around, I don't have no money, the source will make sure you just don't have it, period. It's also a cycle of secrets revealed, that things have been hidden about the government, about individuals or politicians. All of that's going to come to light. A lot of things. It's going to be a hot summer. And I ain't talking about the temperature, okay? I am talking about things that will come to the surface. You will have whistleblowers, things like that, that'll really start spilling the beans on a lot of things that people realize has really messed this country up over selfishness and greed, because that's all it is. And yet the world's saying, the nine is saying, work in a humanitarian fashion, do that and you will do well. So I would expect the second week to really be conflictual, so to speak, but it's the third week where you can kind of really start to question things and examine things. And by the way, since it is a month of reflection, begin to question yourself. Why am I doing what am I doing? Why am I dealing with this person? You could be happily with somebody and they could be sleeping in the bed and you saying, why am I dealing with you? You ain't going to wake them up to discuss it. It's just that, but everybody's going to go through microscopic examination anyway. No one will be left out. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about the stars. They do not discriminate. And the cities and states is going to be in the news. It's going to be Hollywood and Las Vegas and Seattle and Teaneck, New Jersey. Outside of that, Brazil and Madrid and Mexico and Mecca and New Delhi, for example. But if you are a Cancer or Pisces or born on the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th or the 29th, you will be the recipient. Okay. Now, what about August? All right. For August, the theme is about economics and real estate. The economics means, you know, it's about, again, about being sure that you have all your ducks in a row financially. Okay. August will promise to be one of those periods where you must pay yourself first. You and it's also, and you know how sometimes you think you escape paying a bill. Well, the bill is going to come back to you. So it's either you deal with the bill or the bill will deal with you. Normally when they come after you, it's not pretty. So it's always best to try to resolve. So pay your debts if you can. But already they found that consumers with the credit cards is trillions of dollars behind. Automobiles, people are defaulting on their auto loans. Auto insurance is going up. So it's going to be a really testy time for those in the months of August. But at the same time, it's going to be a period where you really come to grips with what you're doing on life stage and about growing up. But it's about handling your business to the degree. It is also about focusing. It is also about seeking things and affecting the government in some way. And especially in the first week, because a lot of people are going to be doing something initially, being more proactive. But in the third week of the 15th through the 21st, things are going to be a little bit kind of iffy or up in the air. But the last week is going to be a period where scandals may result as a result of money or finances or embezzlements, things of that nature. All of that could come to the surface as well. Cities and places in the news will be like Cleveland and Jersey City and Rye, New York, and Tulsa and Pittsburgh, as well as the Bahamas, Jamaica, Belfast, England, Tel Aviv, and Guyana. But, however, if you are a Capricorn, Aquarius, or Libra, or born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th, you will be one of the beneficiaries of the year. What about September? Well, September, everything comes to a head. Now, what do I mean? Not only will it be a 9 universal year, it'll be a 9 universal month. So that means that anything that has really, really had you on edge, this will be the tipping point if you're not aware. The slightest thing is likely to, what you don't want to do is be in a situation, find yourself in a situation where you say something and make a move that you really regret. Because once it's out there, you can't take it back. It's out there. But at the same time, for those of you who have still got those people that just want to hold on and don't want to let go, you got one last chance to cut them loose and say bye. Okay? You got one last chance to clear your mind of things that you know you should get rid of, know you should stop doing, yet you've denied yourself all year. But this month of September will give you one last chance to say, okay, I quit. I stop. And I don't need this. I don't need that. And you might say, I don't need you either. Okay. So it all depends on how things are going. But at the same time, don't forget it's a period of manifesting what you want for a change, not what somebody else wants of you. I found that that's when you have your real friends. It's like you want something, but everybody got an idea of, well, what's is best for you. But they're not going to pay your bills if things hit the fan. They're not going to buy your food if things hit the fan, your car note, your car insurance, your bills, none of it. But they can all tell you what you can do. So the real friendship comes about, well, if that's what you want to do, Miss Kimbaley, that's what you want to do. Now, if you say, well, listen, I want to jump off the bridge, I'm going to say, no, 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 no. Yeah, I mean, you got to use some common sense up in here, okay? To me, that's what you got to do. So you wish them well, but as long as they're not doing anything that harms themselves, because that makes no sense. The second week is going to be the most critical week in September. A lot of people are going to have to be very diplomatic on the second Monday or somewhere around the 11th of September. They're going to have to be very, very careful. They also have to be careful in the third week to follow too, from the 15th to the 21st, to not let excess take them to the extreme. And in fact, the fourth week isn't going to be that better anyway. But again, it's about weeding out things. That's one aspect. Manifesting what you want to do, which is another aspect. And maybe just saying, you know what? I need to change the scenery. I need to get out of here. But if you are Aries or Scorpio or Leo, or born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month, well, it is one of the times for you to kind of say, okay, I'm out and I'm going away. October. Now, here's the thing about October. Every October sets the stage of the year to come, in this case, 2026, which would be a 10 or 1. How did I do it? Simple. I took 2025, added it to the 10th calendar month, and that added to 19, and 1 plus 9 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So that means honor, success, and esteem will follow those who have the presence of mind to take advantage of the month of October. October will be important to everybody that finally wants to stand on their own, finally wants to be independent and self-reliant, finally to do things on their terms, not what you want of me. There was an interesting saying I heard not too long ago. The question is, will I let you go? Or the paraphrase of the question is, no, I'm going to do this on my own. So it's not about waiting for people's approval. You do the things that is best for you. And that is what I'm saying. Your 3 friends are me, myself, and I. So for everybody that's going through the month of October, the stage they set will actually begin to project them and get ready for the year of 2026. One of the best and active weeks is going to be in the third week. There are going to be a lot of improvements going on. The third week is going to be crazy, the 15th to the 21st. So it means somewhere around that third Sunday or somewhere around the 13th of the month, they need to be a little mindful of that week in October. And they're going to find that by the fourth week, or actually the fifth week, the last week, excuse me, they're going to be in a period to make some changes. So the cities in the news and the countries in the news will be Atlanta, for example, Knoxville, Pasadena, Reno, Shelby, North Carolina, Bonn, Germany, Dar es Salaam in Africa, Guatemala, Nassau in the Bahamas. But if you're a Leo or an Aquarius or an Aries or born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, or the 13th, the 19th, the 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, well, you will be the beneficiaries. And what about November? Actually, what people don't know is November actually sets the stage for 2027. But the theme for this November of 2025 is called The Awakening. To raise your consciousness, to raise your awareness, to begin to see that fussing and fighting is not going to get anybody anywhere. It's like taking 2 steps up and going 5 steps back. Not do it 3, but 5 steps back, okay? It means to try to put on your diplomatic hat, to be mindful, to be patient, to be kind, to be considerate, but to be visionary in what you want for yourself. A lot of inventions and creative ideas are likely to come to light during this month of November. People that are very innovative, especially those of a spiritually inclined nature, will begin to get ideas from on high. They'll develop what they call the cheat code, where all of a sudden solutions to ideas that have eluded them will make themselves available. Computers and things related to that will be very good. Inventions and scientific discoveries, all of that's going to be part of the process in November. So think of new discoveries. They're going to have probably a new serum that make you look 10 years younger. Don't be surprised. So it's going to be a lot of things coming out the woodworks. The best week is going to be the very opening week, where things begin to open up with ideas. But the second week is going to be where you can put those ideas into things that are concrete and functional. You know what I'm saying? The third week is when you can take those ideas and take them to market. And the last week will be the cycle whereby you can take those ideas and how they can serve humanity, serve the public, serve the home, serve family, and things of that nature. Louisville, Kentucky, Orlando, Florida, Raleigh, North Carolina, Waterbury, Connecticut, Macon, Georgia will be well as Medina and St. Vincent, and Leningrad in Germany will be, Leningrad in Russia, I should say, will be important. But if one is a Leo, especially, or an Aquarius, especially, or a Cancer, or born on the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month, they will do well. And last, and not saving the best for last, which is December. I know people saying, it's about time you got to me. Well, in the month of December, the theme is about expansion and networking. This sets the stage for what is to come for 2027, believe it or not. But they're going to have to wait, because we still got to get 2026 and then 27 out the way. But what it means is this: think in terms of how you can be of better service. Think in terms how you can be more sociable. And I'm not just talking about partying and having a good time, but to network. No matter where you go, it's still who knows who. Because if you don't know the right person, you can be in trouble. You can be homeless. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a who knows who. How you going to network? How you going to take advantage of things? And not only take advantage of that network, but how you think of ways of expanding and growing. Now, the first 2 weeks is not going to seem like that at all. Okay. But I will say this, though. I will have to go back to November, because November will be a Mercury retrograde period. It will be the last water sign period. And I forgot to mention that. That'll be from the 19th of November until, let me see. No, excuse me, the 9th of November to the 29th of November. So it's going to be that 21-day period. So I forgot that. But anyway, again, you got to understand, I have so much in my head, and I'm trying to kind of keep it there. But anyway, getting back to December. So December is going to be good. December is going to allow people to really do some traveling in the second week and Christmas week, I'll call it, which is the week of the 22nd to the end of the month. And it's going to be, actually, as they end the year of that last week, where they're going to really be questioning the kinds of people they've met, whether it's been to their advantage, how can they benefit from it and be a better person. Manhattan and Red Bank, New Jersey will be in the news, followed by Staten Island, Wichita, Gambia, Aruba, Sierra Leone, Lisbon, is all going to be in the news. But if one is a Pisces or Sagittarius, or they're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, they will be beneficiaries as well. So I hope a lot of this is people can take advantage of it. But I will say this: yes, you might be on edge, and I know people are very uptight, making ends meet. People are short. They're trying to figure out how to make a living, but don't let that trap you into something that you do something silly or impulsive and wind up with regret, lots of regrets. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. To give you another example, seriously, there was a thing I heard recently, not too long ago. A guy was in the bar with his lady, and he stepped to the bathroom. The guy, another guy walked up. Some guys will just walk up to anybody, just start talking. Well, when the guy came out the bathroom, he got into a beef with the guy. So the guy's dead. He's going to jail. You think he's still going to have that girlfriend? So what I'm saying is, you got to think before you do things, especially if things that's impulsive or irrational, or when you get mad and angry, because then you can't take it back. You can't take it back. And then this guy in jail, would you? And he's maybe sentenced to life for years. And if he asked the question once he settled down, was it worth it? It'll be, pardon it, as I open up this conversation, hell to the no.
He probably won't even know the guy's name.
He didn't know the
Serious.
guy's name. All he
Yeah,
knows
his
is the guy
whole
was
life
talking to this
has
woman, and his
changed.
ego got, and see, that's that 9. The ego got in the way. So that's why I'm going to be teaching a course this year on palmistry. That's going to be in April to tell you how to read people's hands. You know, it's interesting. Napoleon, the famous general, once says, "The face may deceive, but the hand never." So a woman can have all the makeup on, a guy could look all suavito and handsome. You better look at that hand and see what's going on first. That'll tell you a whole lot. Okay.
You got to find out. You got to know these things.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Especially when you're dealing with a lot of people, because we all put, there's the public side, then there's the private, intimate side. Well, a lot of us project our public side when we're out, and sometimes we could be starving. There was another incident of a woman recently on, I think, one of these social medias. She was all fashionable, whatnot, but she could hardly pay her bills, sleeping on the couch of her friend's house. You know what I'm saying? So don't be fooled by things. Don't be fooled by the eye candy, as they call it, because it looks sweet on the outside. You know, so it just shows you got to look. You really got to look, and you got to pay attention. Things are going to be a little challenging. Not that we can't get through it, but if you're not prepared, or if you don't know how to pace yourself, then it could.
That's true. I was going to say, I don't want to alarm anybody, but the 9 year is no joke. No joke, seriously. It may seem like sometimes things are just turning upside down, but hold on because it's transformation. Things are taking place that's going to bring you out on the better side. But as you said, it's important not to be impulsive, it's important to be patient, and everybody's going to get through this year. Just be cautious, be careful.
Yeah.
And if you lose something or somebody, it means that it's not serving the purpose in your life anyway. So,
Well, it's how we look at our lives, and sometimes you got to be philosophical. They said that's why they're saying some people are here for a reason or a season. Some to make us learn lessons or whatever those lessons supposed to be, and then unfortunately, you have some people that never learn a lesson, no matter how old or how young they are. So my whole thing is to try to be a student at life, to always be constantly learning and open and receptive. But we're in a society that's caught up on age. Well, you this age and you old, and you this age, you too young, and not really understanding we all have a maturation cycle that we go through, every single person, and it's understanding that process. But then again, you got some people that's old as dirt and never learned a thing. I'm
I know
keeping it
some of
real.
those people.
That's why I said that. I met
That's
quite a few of those people. Okay.
that's the bad part. Thank you so much for
You're more than welcome.
delivering as usual. Thank you for letting us know, actually giving us the roadmap for the Universal 9 year. 2025 is coming up soon. We appreciate that. And I know there's a few things you talked about, the palmistry class that's coming, the palmistry workshop that's coming up. You also talked about the Star 8 numerology app.
Yeah.
I
And I
want
also
you,
have a professional course coming up in February. So let me tell you about some of the projects I have that I'm so excited about. On February the 25th, I will have a 5-week course on how to do this as a professional living. As I said, a lot of people have been laid off. More people are going to be laid off. But this will be something, as long as human beings walk the earth, they will always need your services. So on the 25th of February, I will be teaching a 5-week course on how to become a professional numerologist, how to do this for a living. Then in April on the 13th, I will be doing a class on palmistry, how to read the hands, how you can tell whether the person is lying or flying. You don't care what they look like. Girl, let me see them hands first, please. Thank you. Okay. And it's very important. Now, you'll think I'm joking. You watch. You know, all sometimes doesn't appear to be what it seems to be. Well, the hands will reveal that to you. And I'm going to show you how to read the hands, the length of the fingers, especially the heart line and the headline. Okay. Most people looking like life. How long am I living? My thing is, how are you thinking and how are you feeling? Well, those are the lines that's going to be important too. And then beginning at the beginning of the year of 2025, as I come out the gate of January through December, I start the power series, the power of the cycles, the power of manifestation, the power of visualization, the power of precious metals, the power of money. The power is going to be a whole power series. Each and every month from January will have its own theme. February will have its own theme to empower people how to become better in this crazy time we're going to be entering for 2025. So this power series is going to be up and running. You'll see it. And so you can either sign up just before. We're going to have some very interesting guests that's going to be coming on. I'm going to be doing most of it myself, but especially when it comes to some factors, but I'm going to have guests on, such as Dr. Woodhouse on finances and Kuro on precious metals, and a couple of other people outstanding. So I want all of y'all to join in to them. They will be on my show, and eventually they will be as part of the Power Series, because there's certain things you can't say or do on these platforms the way you want to. So now I'm allowed to go into depth, get down to the bottom of it, to raise people's consciousness. There's a lot of things people need to know.
Wow, you just gave us a whole lot of things to keep our mind busy during the year of the nine. Sounds like a good idea.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
I'm really excited.
Thank you so much. And we're going to be back in November to do our November forecast
Can't
as
wait.
usual. Is there anything that you would like to leave with our guests before we log off?
Yes. Before I leave, there is a individual that I must give credit to. You know, every now and then you meet somebody who comes into your life that has an impact in a way that makes you grow and improve. And this lady right next door, right next to me, Miss Kimbaley Williams, I must give her credit. And what started back in the very beginning of 2024 as well, let me do the forecast for the month. We wind up doing it every month. The idea of the theme came from her. Then from there, I just went off in the colors and stones and signs and this and that, and it's really really grown. So I have to thank her, but I want to thank her right to her face. She sponsors my show every Monday and Wednesday on my Live with Lloyd show that you can catch on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Numbers and You. Uh, so I can't thank her enough. She's just marvelous in my book. So if it sounds like I'm partial to her, guess what? You figured it out, and you're right. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
It's been so fun. Plus, I get to know all the information before everybody else.
Just like a woman.
Once again, thank you so much for visiting us, and I'll see you in November.
See you soon.